Howdy! Hi! Welcome back. We are on a roll, aren't we? This is exciting times. Today, I am very excited. I think we might even go into Friday talking about creativity and creative process and the power of it. Where does it come from and who has it and all that fun stuff because I think it's really important to um, just be uplifting. I know the past several times we were together was a little bit more, not dark or heavy. It was just dealing with reality and things in our life that come up and how we can approach those things and be the best that we can be. So today, I love this subject of creativity. Um, and I know when I was working on it and talking about it, it brought me to tears because it's one of my favorite subjects. And bear with me because the streaming I'm using, I know the connection is odd. It goes great and then it kind of goes out. So it is what it is, and it's all that I have at the moment. So until I can remedy this, please forgive me for the odd back and forth Wi-Fi stuff. But I will get the message across. Hey Sherry, hi. So glad you're here. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about talking about creativity, and it's one of my favorite subjects. I mean, I have a lot, but this is an awesome one because it really touches to the heart and soul of our own being. And what I want to cover is today. I want to do cover the aspect of creativity, where it comes from, how do we get it? I want to talk about our own personal creative force and how that comes forward out of us. How do we express that? And also, how do others' creative abilities affect us? And I know there are many, if you think of music and art and literature and poetry and theater, all that, so we'll touch on that. The first thing I want to do is I want to share a quote with you because I think this is such a beautiful statement that encompasses a lot of what we'll talk about today and on Friday. And it's a quote by Thomas Troward. Now, he was a prolific writer, and he was born in the mid 1800s, passed in 1916. He was a very forward thinker, very progressive, um, and somewhat mystical. He wrote several books, and some of them are really thick. His mind is so unique and incredible. It's like wading through mud sometimes as he shares his thoughts because they're so incredible and so wise and so intense. But he did write a book on the process of creativity, or the creative process, I think it's called. Anyway, here's his quote, and I'm going to break it down because I think it's really important. And also today I have a hard stop. I need to end about 10:45 or 45 minutes after this hour because I have something coming up that I have to tend to. But like I said, we'll continue on Friday. So this is what Thomas Troward talked about. This is his quote. The mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression, and this means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in the past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. I'm going to break this down. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but it says a lot. It's just so cool. Hi, Tracy. Um, so let me break it down, and then we'll get into some discussion here. So he says, and see, I agree with this. I've been working on a book for a couple years. The title isn't quite ready, but it's about the elegant mind. The elegant mind is actually the divine mind, um, and he kind of ties it in. So let's talk about this. So he says our mind is the center of a divine operation. True, it's true. I mean, where else would we get this mind and our brain and our bodies and the creative force within us? He says divine. I think we have different words for it. People, some say source, universe, God. I like the expression, the creative force of life. Sometimes I'll say divine. I think as a human, we are incredibly, incredibly brilliant and creative, but I have yet to find a human to create a galaxy or stars or the sun or the strategic and orderly way our galaxy functions, or a seed that grows into a flower or a tree. I mean, we can do a lot. We can't do that, right? So in my brain, I mean, my spiritual evolution has been all over the place and here, there, and everywhere, and I'll talk about that down the line. But anyway, there is a greater intelligence. There is a spiritual world that we are a part of in a different way. It's within us. And it's there. We do have spiritual DNA within us. That's for sure. And it does come through in those moments of I don't know about you, but like meditation or prayer or just sitting quietly or being in nature, and the feelings that we get are so connected. There's so much so that I don't know about you, but I don't have words for it. I can't find words that describe some of the bliss that I feel that I know is a direct spiritual connection. I hope that makes sense, because I want to talk about that and kind of infuse it into all this. So we do have a divine mind, and he talks about the divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. Isn't that true? We're not done creating. God, so to speak, is not done creating. We are the hands and feet, the mind, the manifestation of the creation and the expression of all this. So think about this. Think of everything in your room, if you're wherever you are, uh, anything you're sitting on, any light that you have access to, a fireplace, a set of drawers, a table you get to sit at, chairs, rugs, blankets, linens, anything. Think of that. All that came from someone's idea. Someone thought up, this might be helpful. How about if we do this? How about instead of sitting on the floor, we create something, and it started out as a stool. And then as the expansion grows, it became a chair. And then you have tables made of different kinds of wood, beautiful wood. And then you have someone go, hey, how about we make this pretty and beautiful? I can carve designs in the side of this table to make it lovely. I can create a rug to make the floor warm. Hey, let's put some design and color in it. I mean, it's always expanding. Our creative mode of thought and thinking is always expanding, and it's remarkable. I mean, it just, when you dig into this concept, it really gets mind blowing. So, so he says, the production of something beyond what has gone before, just like what I said. Instead of sitting on the floor, now we have stools, now we have chairs. And something entirely new. So there's always something new to be developed and created. And not to include in the past experience. Now that is a true invention. When something is brand spanking new, out of like just brand new, it's not an expansion on something before. That's a true invention. And a lot of times people will talk about especially in the past, when they come up with these ideas, they'll say they were half asleep, or they were purposely meditating, or they're purposely in a trance-like mind frame, and would be downloaded with these ideas. Where did that come from, right? So there are brand new experiences, and then there are those that come out of an orderly sequence of growth. And that is, think of this. Someone thought of the wheel, right? Someone created the wheel when we think of cavemen or whatever, right? And they decided to attach wheels to some kind of thing, implementation, almost like a wheelbarrow, so they can carry things in. And then someone came up with the idea of, look at those animals, horses we call them, and look how fast they go. I wonder if we can manage to train that, and we can use that for transportation. Oh, what about if we attach a horse to this thing? And then, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, the brain and our minds and the creativity goes on and on and on, and we get to these carriages, and then fancy carriages and gold carriages, and then we get to the horseless carriage. So we think of Ford, and there was a gentleman in Germany, an inventor, who also, I think right before Ford, around the same time, came up with the motor. And so attaching a motor to a carriage, now it's a horseless carriage. And people back then were like, this is crazy, this is insane, this isn't going to go anywhere. There's always the naysayers, right? Like, this is ridiculous, we need our horses, and we need our buggies. And there was some really, people were just so down on it. But isn't that true? Aren't we always complaining about something, or thinking we have to have this one way of thought, or this one way of being, and no one wants to get out of their comfort zone, right? So, but think of that. So we have a horseless carriage, it was called. And then what did that become? That became bigger, the engine became better, it became more safe. The design of the automobile, then it became called different designs. People made up different designs, and there was the first bus, the taxi. I mean, think of it. It just keeps growing and expanding, right? And then race cars, and you know how it goes. And now we're getting into electric cars, which is wonderful, would be great for our environment. So I love this. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me and you. That's why I say we have God in us. We have spiritual DNA in us, and it's exciting. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. Yes! So just as I was explaining, there's this creativity and an expansion of it. And when we really wrap our minds around it, I mean, it blows my mind if you really concentrate on one or two things, like I talked about the automobile. How did it started out with someone just thought of a wheel at some point, then attach it to something to create kind of a wheelbarrow so they can carry things. Someone thought of the bow and arrow to go hunting. I mean, what do we think of? I think we are great problem solvers, especially if you've been a mother, right? Or in some kind of a project, or a career where there's a lot of projects you have to manage, or whatever. You have to become quick at creating how to solve some problems. You got to be quick on your feet, and that's very creative. So I wanted to say all that as a preface, because creativity to me is the only reason I feel like we're alive. Not the only, but one of the big reasons we are alive. Can you imagine a world without music? Can you imagine a world without art, theater, the movies we see, the programs we watch, the artists, the talent, the actors? I cannot. Can you imagine? What would that be like? What would we be doing? It would be miserable. I think I would not want to be here if we didn't have any of that. I can't even imagine. Can you? Seriously. I mean, think about it. All the beauty of it all, and the entertainment of it all, and even our life expression. I know I shared with you, I'm from a family of artists, and part of creativity, see, you're creative too, and this is what I want to talk about. We are all creative. Now, we're not all Da Vinci's or Leonardo or Michelangelo's, obviously. We're not all, if we love theater or acting, we're not all Academy Award winners, obviously. But it's within us. We have something. And I want to know if you care to chat, either of you, like, tell me, what do you like to do? Now, for me, I love painting. And I told you before that it took me a long time to get the nerve up to do anything artistic because I was so intimidated by my older sisters. And my father was very artistic. I'm like, I can't do what they do. I just can't. And it took me a move out of state to finally get the nerve up to take some classes and go, oh, I'm not too bad. I mean, I still paint like a toddler, but oh well. I love it though. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And I love um, uh, decorating my home. I love making my home a way in which it feels welcoming and warm and with textures and colors and somewhat tradition. I like that. What do you like? Do you like to draw? Do you like to paint? Do you like to just be out in nature and let your mind just get creative and imaginative? Do you like to paint? Do you want to paint? Do you like piano? Do you like guitar? Do you like music? What do you like? How do you express your creativity? Because I feel it's vital for all of us to do that. And when we don't have the opportunity, or we feel like, we're using the old paradigm of I'm not good enough, I can't, this won't work, I'll be terrible at it, whatever, it it shrinks us a little bit. It shrinks us inside. So, for anybody listening to me, I would beg you, please, if you have an interest, look into it. Many of us in cities around the globe, actually, there are community centers. You can take lessons. You can even learn yoga. You can learn how to watercolor or use acrylics or oil paint or draw. Or I know around me there are community centers for acting if you want to be in a community play or if you want to take some acting lessons. Anything, I would say, please go for it. Oh, Sherry, awesome. Painting, writing, and music. Yay! Yes. Doesn't it feel good when we do that? And I'm going to touch on the aspect of what's called flow. I don't know if I'll do that today or Friday, but that is the creative life force spirit that is in us. It flows through us. We get into this flow, but I'll touch on that later. I'm going to read another quote that when I read it, I actually teared up because I'm like, someone else gets it. It's like she put into words what I have felt for years in my life. And I bet perhaps you might feel the same way. So this is a quote by Helena Bonham Carter. She's an actress. You've probably seen her in a million things. She's pretty incredible. And she is attributed to this quote, which at least when I saw the quote, her name was attributed to it. So she says, and I agree, says, I think everything in life is art. What you do, how you dress, the way you love someone, and even how you talk. Your smile and your personality. What you believe in and all your dreams. The way you drink your tea, or in my case, coffee. How you decorate your home or a party. Your grocery list. The food you make. How your writing looks. And the way you feel. Life is art. Now, I would probably add a dozen other things, but I get the gist of what she's saying. Everything around us, everything that we can be or produce or touch in life, it is a form of creative ability. It's creative talent. Now, every meal I make doesn't look like a gourmet meal. It just doesn't. But when I entertain or I have people over, I always make an effort to make everything like I put my silver out, china. The food looks good and have the just want it to make it look appetizing and pretty. That's just what I do. When I get bored and I don't know what to do and I feel like I want to be creative, I make cakes. I used to decorate cakes years ago. So once in a while, I'll just get out my stuff, I'll make a cake and decorate it, and just I'll find something that inspires me. A few months ago, Monet inspired me, and I made a cake that was like the pond of Monet's paintings with water lilies on it. And I did one, Bridgerton inspired me, and I did a cake like that. Now, what I do is I cut them up and give them to the neighbors. I don't keep them and eat them. But that's how I am. When we are not creative, and I bet you can agree with me, you feel kind of on edge, or you feel a little bit unproductive, or sometimes I just get depressed. If time goes by and I haven't done anything creative, I feel really down. I'll even buy flowers to arrange in a vase, you know? So I have to do that. And a few years ago, I started drawing. Now, again, I've never taken a class in drawing. My sisters can sit down with their sketchbooks. In fact, my oldest sister, I told you about her, she's a professor of art. She's taught drawing. She teaches oil. Any medium, she just blows my mind. But they'll sit and go, and and then you see this magnificent drawing. I'm lucky if I could draw a stick man. But I've tried my hand at it, and I do have a sketchbook. And so, every time we do something, we get a little better and we learn a little more. And if you can take a class, or a class online, or a class at your community center, or maybe someone private teaches, go for it, do it. I miss having musical instruments in my home. I grew up with them and I had them, and my children were growing up, and over the years I don't anymore, and I want to get another guitar. And if I had the room, I'd get a piano. But or restring my harp. I have a harp, but it needs to be restrung, and that takes time and a lot of time and effort and investment. So I kept putting it off, but maybe I will. But anyway, all that to say that I want to encourage anybody to just do it. We're never perfect in the beginning, but I'm telling you this, you're going to be a whole lot better than you thought you were. I know it. I know it. And it's exciting to think of this. So think about your favorite music. I bet you have your favorite music. I bet you have your favorite bands, your favorite vocalists, your lyricists. Am I right? We all have music that we're drawn to. And maybe over a variety of different kinds of music. I love classical. I love classical. When I'm in my car, that's all I listen to is classical music. There's a wonderful station here in Portland that you can listen. By the way, if you like classical music, this is the best station. It's allclassical.org, and you can listen to it anywhere in the world if you like. And they're the best station. I love that. So anyway, just a heads up if you like classical music. But as soon as I get home and I'm going to fix dinner, I'll put on Hollywood Vampires, and I'll play my favorite song, which I play on loop every single day, which is their cover of Heroes, written by David Bowie. But I love the way Hollywood Vampires covers it. I love it. And I can't get enough of it, like you, right? I bet you have your favorite songs. And let's see, there's Ennio Morricone. Look him up. Oh my gosh. Gabriel's Oboe. Ennio Morricone is a very prolific, or was, he passed away a couple years ago, a very prolific composer. And he composed music for many movies that you've seen. And not unlike John Williams, right? But he's amazing. And Gabriel's Oboe is one of the most beautiful melodies, the most beautiful pieces of work. I heard it about 22 years ago on a recording, just a little blurb of it, and I loved it, but I didn't know what it was, where it came from. Found out the name of it, Gabriel Lobo. Years later down the road, like, what happened to that song? I looked it up on YouTube, and I want you to look it up. Morricone conducts Morricone, Gabriel's oboe. Now, Morricone is Morricone, I believe, Morricone. Ennio, Ennio. Anyway, I brought it up, and here he is. He's conducting his composed, his Gabriel's oboe in front of this magnificent, glorious orchestra, unbelievable orchestra. And behind the orchestra are about 60 or 70 people lending their angelic voices. That comes in about halfway through the music. I wept. This music is amazing, and I want to share this with you because because I think you would love it. That's all. And if you have music you want to share with me, tell me your favorites. I would love to know. I always love to explore and learn different, hear different music. I also love Maroon 5 and their song called Memories. No, it's not from the musical. It's a magnificent song. It's about loss, and he wrote the song when he lost his best friend, who's also his manager. He's known him since high school, and that's a beautiful song too. I like Maroon 5 anyway, and anything Beatles. Norwegian Wood, In My Life, Let It Be, On Play Every Day. Love those songs, along with Heroes, along with Ennio Morricone. I can't get sick of those songs. I can't. And how long have they been around? Years. Anything Beatles, really. I love the Beatles. But and the only reason I'm sharing this with you is because I think we need to be in touch with and appreciate and love that which we are drawn to. Because there's a reason we're drawn to different music. I'm not into country music. I kind of like it here and there, but it's not on my playlist really. But I appreciate it. But I know I have friends that's all they listen to because they're drawn to that. They love the lyrics. They love the sound of it. And I think that's beautiful because we all have different frequency or vibrations and energy that we will be attracted to. Now, we also have, I bet you have a favorite movie. I bet you have favorite actors and actresses in your life. I know I do. And favorite programs maybe on TV. When we talk about gratitude, I'm going to share this a little bit, but I think it was a couple of years ago, I wrote out a list. Every once in a while, I don't do it every day, but every once in a while, I like to do like, what am I grateful for? Who am I grateful for? And I'll, write down some things, and usually it's categories. And I did one about the entertainment industry. Who am I grateful for that I just admire their work? And I wrote down several names, and I do have my favorites, and I bet you do too. There's one in particular that I absolutely adore. This person is not only otherworldly in their talent, I mean beyond anything. Similar to like Robin Williams. I thought he was otherworldly. I mean, that man's talent and abilities and his quick wit, even though it could be crude at times, I understand that. But I mean, just his genius ability at what he did. How did all that fit in that body? You know what I'm saying? He was amazing, just incredible. And I feel that way about this particular person. And the reason I do too is because I learn from this person. Whenever they're in an interview, and I don't mean like late night because that's kind of funny, haha, entertaining. But when this person is doing a film festival and it's a half-hour Q&A or a theatrical Q&A, I'm always blown away because I'm taking notes. I'm like, what's that quote? Who's that person? What's that book? I love to find people I learn from. And this particular person is one. Plus, this person inhabits incredible skills in acting, artistry, um, music, a musician, lyricist, and a writer. I mean, all that in that one person. I can't even imagine how does one hold all that in them. It blows my mind. That's why I say otherworldly. But anyway, I bet you have your favorites too. And we look for them, oh, so and so's going to be in this movie, or they're going to, she or he or whatever. And we want to go see them because we admire their work, or a band. So I think it's really important to take note of those people, places, and things around us that with their creativity, they inspire us and our creativity. It's like a circle, isn't it? How we feel motivated or inspired. And I know I'll never be like, the people I admire and the greatness of them, especially the greats of the past, because I do love um, Renoir, and Michelangelo, and Da Vinci, and Medici, and Monet, all the classics. I love that. I grew up going to art galleries, so it's in me. And same with music, and same with acting. So I'm going to tell you one person that was on my list last year was Tina Fey. I love Tina Fey. I love her. Ever since I first saw her on Saturday Night Live, 20 years ago, 22 years ago, there was something about her I was really drawn to her. And then I got to know her a little more, and she wrote some books. And she's so funny and down to earth. And she had some trauma in her childhood. And she's just so funny. And when 30 Rock, I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but when 30 Rock came out, she wrote it, produced it, along with a few other people, but it was based kind of loosely on her life. But I still go to 30 Rock for when I need comedy in my life. I can't get sick of that. And I've seen all 7 seasons, I don't know how many times. So, do you have a go-to for comedy, or do you have a go-to? I'm just curious. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the crazy one here. I don't know. Maybe I am. But I know myself well, just like we've been talking about how to know ourselves well. How do we know, our sensitivities and our moods and so I know when I feel kind of down, and I have those days, feeling really down and really lonely. I live alone, and it's not like I can see my family whenever I want, or them come visit me, and it gets rough. So I'll turn to a good program or a good movie or a good comedy and laugh my head off, and I appreciate the writers, the directors, the set designers, the wardrobers. I mean, it's amazing what goes into filming either a TV or a movie, and all the people involved. And maybe I'm more sensitive to that because I grew, I lived in LA and married to an actor, and I'm aware of what goes on behind the scenes. It takes a lot of people. And I'm so grateful for that. I just love the process of creativity too. I hope that when you have moments when you can just sit and either enjoy some music for yourself, or create music for yourself, or enjoy pieces of art, or create it for yourself, that you get lost in it and feel the beautiful energy and vibration of it all, because that's the spiritual essence of it all. I believe anyway. And I know when I'm inspired by others, it's as if that spark, a little bit of that spiritual DNA, you take one candle and you light another one, and you light another one, and you light another one. It never takes away from that first candle. It's still just as bright. And so as we are able to be creative, even in ways of speaking to people or doing a kindness for somebody, maybe knowing somebody, maybe somebody in the neighborhood who might have lost their spouse or something, or they're ill and you can bring them dinner or send them a card or something. And you do it in a beautiful, loving, heartfelt way that you create, that's just from you and your energy and your vibration and your love and your care and your concern and your compassion. And even the way we can express our compassion and our love for somebody can be beautifully done, very simply or elaborately. Depends on the occasion and it depends on the person. But it's so lovely and it's so beautiful. I have to check my time. I have a few more minutes. So I think on Friday, what we'll talk about a little bit more, we'll expand on this a little bit more and talk about what that flow is. The flow, the creative force of life that flows through us. And when we get into the mode of creating, that flow that occurs within us. Because I believe in some ways it's not only within us and it's a part of us, but it's otherworldly too. It is. And I'll explain that on Friday. But I want to thank whoever's listening to this. Because you being here, if you want to learn more and understand more about yourself, about what you love, about what you're grateful for, what you give, what's given to you, you can take in as inspiration and motivation. It's beautiful. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what up-leveling ourselves is and grading ourselves is, because you're getting deeper and understanding more and feeling it. You know, it's easy to let life pass us by. It's easy. I mean, especially when we're busy. I remember raising 4 kids and, it was like, I was lucky to take a shower sometimes. But the older I get, the more I realize I don't want life just to pass me by. I want to experience more and more. I want to learn more. And I want to know more. I want to feel more. I want to produce more. And when we take that time to listen and to learn, it's an investment that'll come back to you 100-fold. I did a quick Instagram video this week on kind of this thing about, in this world that we live in now, the society of scroll, 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 and what's on, who's saying what, and what's doing what, and who's the influencer of today, and what's happening. It's very flashy and very quick and very addictive even. And it's so much of it. You have Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and I know there's several others. You can tell I'm not quite into social media. I know there are a lot more. And this is what people do all day. And then they want to get on and they want everybody's attention and everybody wants their attention. And it's everybody's trying to get everybody's attention about makeup, about who knows what. I don't know, philosophy, whatever. They're all a lot of good stuff too. I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying when it's so quick and we want a quick fix and we're scrolling and we're doing this and that. What I said was, what you're going to find, the wisdom you're looking for, is going to come in that still small voice. And it's going to come through somebody that might not look right, or isn't wearing the right makeup or shoes, or drive the right car, or is a millionaire. They're going to come in a way in which they're going to hold the wisdom you need the words you're looking for within them. But if we are so busy scrolling, and rushing around in our life, and we're not paying attention, we're going to miss it. And that makes me sad for a lot of people, and for myself. Now, I say that because when I grew up, there were a lot of people in my life. Again, I didn't grow up with social media, right? Many of us didn't. So there was time and attention to listening to people, going to programs, even at a library, a certain speaker, or, now we have TED Talks. But follow your gut, trust your intuition, pay attention, and listen. Because what you need to hear is going to come from somebody very unexpectedly. I can almost guarantee it. So that's that. I'll just end with that because I do have to get to this appointment. But creativity and inspiration come from even the bird flying across the sky we look through the window. It comes in autumn, the changing of the colors of the trees. I mean, we can find it anywhere. And I hope that you will be in touch with your creative process and go with it, no matter how it comes out. I think of engineers being incredibly creative. Engineers who build bridges, architects who build huge buildings, accountants who come up with programs of ways to computate that's the word, their numbers to make it easier for a business. I mean, creativity comes in all forms. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I love your comments. You can leave them even if you see the recording. And I always appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day. You are amazing. You're a miracle on the planet. And don't forget how much you matter. Take care and blessings to you. Bye-bye.